So what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to add particles in. So go to your learning folder, right click, add a new folder, name it particles. Inside that folder we want two things. We want a material, name that P or M_P scroll. And then we want a particle system, so P scroll. In the material we want to basically assign a particle. I'm going to add an emissive colour to get a glow and our texture. So in the folder with the files in that you've got, you'll find a scroll particle, and what we need to do is just import that in. So import that in and open our scroll. We want to then just drag our particle in. There we go. And what we want to do now is we want to click on our material, actually called it node, over the under material. We want to change the shading to unlit. There we go. We want to then right click, type particle color, and what we want to do is we want to add a multiply to the emissive. You'll see where this is going in a minute. At the moment it's doing absolutely nothing. We then want to drag off of the texture into the multiply. We then want to drag off of the alpha into another multiply, and then drag off of the alpha of the texture and plug that into opacity. What we need to do with the opacity is set this to translucent. As you can see now, we've got a little bit of a haze here. So what we're then going to do is hold 1 on the keyboard, click, hold 3 on the keyboard, click. So this has added a single constant and a 3 constant. So we want to pull out of the single and type in multi. We want to multiply that by that, plug that into that, and then we will put that up to, say, something stupid like 100, change this colour to blue, and nothing is happening, so why is that? Right, there we go, just because I hadn't got the window. So as you can see, it's now emissive. If I turn that off, it goes back to being boring. So that's that. So that's our material setup for our particle effects. There we go. So we're moving on to the next one. We'll actually set up the particle system. So now we've done our material, we'll open up our particle effects. So if we add that into there, so we can just get a bit of an idea when we come back. So click on that. So on required, we want to set our material to the one we created, which is MP scroll. So just wait till that loads. There we go. So now we've got our little smoky thing. So what we'll then do is the spawn. Click on spawn, rate. You can set how much is spawned here. You know, so you could put up to 500 if you wanted something ridiculous, which we don't. We probably only want something probably around about the 10. We don't use 5. Is that any good? Let's put it on 10. So yeah. That sets that. So then what we want to do is the lifetime, because obviously we want it to look a little bit interesting. So click on lifetime. So you've got your minimum, maximum. So if we do that, you'll get, so put that up to 10. As you can see, some are cutting off right down here, some aren't, but we probably don't want it that high. No, so we'll put that right down to, say, 0.2 and a 1. So there we go. So obviously bear in mind we don't want it, you know, we're not setting a fire of or something like that. We want it to be little bugs type thing. So now what we do is we right click on the orange and we want to go to location, initial location, drag that up above initial size, start location. So if we spread this out a bit, see what's happening now is it's not all like that, where it's not all singly coming out of one area. we want it to come out, obviously, the size of our scroll, so let's just set that to 2020. So yeah, it's pretty all right. So we can now set this, say, to 10, because we don't want it always being on the center. So there we go. So now we want to set our size of our particles. So at the moment they're huge, so let's set them to 5. 5, 5, 5, 5. So there we go. We've got a little less now. Go back to our location and just up that to say 50, 50, 50, 40, 40, 40. So that's all right, yeah. Let's just up the spawn a bit, say 30. No, don't like that. So we can apply that to just test it to our scroll system. So we can go to our scroll. So where are we? There we go. Click on our scroll. Particle system. We should now have our particle system there. So in theory, when we open this, you can see it's there, but it's not quite in the right place. So what are we going to do? So let's look at our scroll again, go to our viewport, click on our scroll. That's not quite what it's saying it is. Why is that? Let's move that just back a bit, because we don't want it massively out of, there we go. So let's just go back into our, if we play that, yeah, see, as you can see, it's drawn attention now, but it's just not in line. So what we need to do is go to our particle. So what is going on? What are you doing? All right, let's drag that over a bit. Looks better. Question is it like that in the viewport? So let's get rid of this one now. So yeah, so there we go. We've now got a particle that draws our attention to it. So let's just see if we can space that out a little bit. So go to our, so we want to probably, initial location, 400. We're spacing it out a bit now. 0, 0, 0. So let's go back to our scroll. There we go. See, now we're getting a little bit more space surrounding the scroll, which is good. Let's add a few more. Whatever you fancy doing. Might not be the same as me. Obviously, that's a bit ridiculous. So then when we play our game, we're wandering through the forest, we can see these little glowing things, and we're like, great. So now we can interact with them. He picks it up. That pops up on screen. We read what he's got to say. Yep, happy with that. Wandering along, find another one. See what he's got to say. Picks it up. Dave scroll. Yep. Bang. Done. So that's it, really. On this one, on the next, this is going to lead into something more where we'll create like an interaction system where the player can go up to something, it'll display a message on the screen saying like chop wood or pick a rock or something like that. It'll then trigger an animation to basically say this is a tree. It's going to trigger the animation to cut the tree, and it's going to start with a full tree, half tree, stump. Then that can be respawned, or we can do whatever we want, put it in inventory and things like that. So this is all leading into something bigger and more complicated, but we're sort of doing it in little steps at the moment. So yeah, in the next course we'll be doing probably an interaction system like that, where it's mining, foresting, whatever you want it to be. We're going to make it as flexible as possible. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this course. If there's any suggestions, any problems, anything you think might be better, if there's any problems you're having, please feel free to contact me, and I'll do my utmost to help you as best I can.